My wife had an accident 4 years ago this year. She fell down the stairs and was left with nerve damage in her neck, paralysed from the knees down. And she had a further incident last year, so she can move around the house on sticks and uses a walking frame, but generally for out and about she does use a wheelchair. I was working at Waterloo as a guards manager at the time, and I'd literally just got to work that day, and she'd fallen down the stairs, and my son phoned the ambulance and dealt with her because she'd collapsed at the bottom of the stairs. They airlifted her to Southampton Hospital, and obviously I took the phone call at work from my son, and so I had to jump on the train back and get in the car and go back down to Southampton. She was in hospital for, I think it was around 2 weeks at the time. Train journey was the longest journey I've ever had in my life because everything is going through your mind, thinking, how am I going to do this? How am I going to deal with that? And, you know, we were in a privately rented house at the time with a steep drive, and you think, you know, we're going to get around the house with the wheelchair, and we're going to work with the kids. It all goes through your mind because you automatically think of the worst. South West Trains were brilliant. My depot manager at the time was really, really good, and so was my head of function, who offered me all the time that I needed to look after Lisa, because I spent pretty much 2 weeks at the hospital. Really, really supportive, always asked how I was doing, how my wife was, if I needed anything, so they were really, really good. Definitely affected me at work. It brought my tolerance levels down because of the circumstances at home tend to wear on you, and my manager realised that at the time and obviously was quite supportive, but you need to share that, and I need to say to my manager, well, this is what's going on in this situation, because then they can make sure they give me the support that I need going forward.
It's really important for us to think about our employees as individuals because, for two reasons. First of all, it's the right thing to do. And secondly, actually as a business, typically companies who think of their employees as individuals are happier, are more productive companies, and that's got to be good for business.
Good afternoon everyone, this is your guard speaking. I at the moment looking after or in primary care for my wife. In February this year she was diagnosed as having MS. She's had symptoms and illness over the last 2 to 3 years, but it was actually diagnosed and a confirmation of the fact that she's got this condition in February this year. When it first happened and I required flexible hours, I had a few people asking me the reasons why, because I wasn't doing the very early shifts, and they were quite happy with my reason once I actually sat down and explained to them why. The company have been absolutely brilliant during the last 2 years, very supportive, and I feel that I've got the backing of them, and it's making things an awful lot easier.
We can't find solutions to every challenge, but there's lots of information and help if people come and talk. The worst thing they can do is to think they're on their own.
It's brilliant to work for South West Trains because they listen to carers and understand the challenges that we face.
I'd say to somebody who found out now that they were about to become a carer to do two things. Firstly, look on our intranet site, and there are many tools that can help. And secondly, go and talk to their manager.
I find it quite refreshing as well that they've actually asked me how I'm feeling and how I'm coping as well, and not only, you know, concerned about how my wife is doing. So it's been much appreciated at every stage that I've gone through.
Biggest advice I can give to anyone that finds himself in the position of carer is to talk about it. I'm not so good at listening to that advice myself because on reflection it's something I didn't do very well at the time, but you have to talk about it. You've got to share your circumstances with South West Trains. Then South West Trains can look at what can be done.